Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the one and only Mr. Death Breath. Yes, shameless self-promotion, writing spoiler-free film reviews, sometimes celebrity interviews, sometimes blog posts, and I also tend to collaborate a lot with my own productions, who happen to be my partners. They're incredible dudes. Anyway, so before we begin, please turn on post notifications. Please subscribe. Please like this video. I appreciate the support. Tenet! Christopher Nolan! Tenet! If you know who Christopher Nolan is, then you're well versed in some incredible cinema. Let's talk about his great things he's done. He made Batman incredible. Batman Begins. Dark Knight Rises. You may not like all those films, you might think some of them are less exciting than the others, but the point of the matter is, he did an incredible job and he made Batman badass. Bane, one of my favorite iterations of Bane, and I think it's safe to say that this is really weird, seeing this on my shirt and knowing that it's behind me sometimes. It's kind of weird. And he also brought to life one of the best iterations of the Joker, which I believe many of you would agree with. Heath Ledger did something incredible that has yet to be topped. And what Joaquin Phoenix did was fantastic, but it stands beside it, not above it. At least not to me. Okay, so Tenet. Let's talk a little bit about it. Okay, so many of you haven't seen Tenet, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get the chance to see Tenet due to COVID. I'm negative, don't worry. But anyway, I didn't know if I was going to be able to see it. And thankfully, I forgot that drive-ins existed. Yeah, so I got a chance to watch it. So that being said, let's get into the good. Okay, so the good, the sequences are fantastic. There's a great scene involving breath holding. And it's really, really spectacular, actually. It's really well done. Also, sometimes Robert Pattinson and John David Washington have some great interaction. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about Tenet and its ideas. This isn't a spoiler, but I do kind of talk about how their concept works, okay? This isn't going to go into any spoiler details or anything for that matter, I promise you. But if you don't feel comfortable, you know, feel free to step away for a moment. I promise you the whole video will not be this way. It will just be a moment of me explaining something, okay? So, here comes the explanation of what's going on in the film. So, you've been warned. Okay? Okay. So, time inversion. What's time inversion? Essentially, time inversion is this, right? This is my lens cap for the camera. So if I toss it, and it comes back into my hand, I tossed it, right? So time inversion essentially, which is the whole premise of the film, or the idea of the film, is it's not cause and effect, but effect and cause. So theoretically, if this was floating, I can recall it to me. You see what I mean? Or if it was on my hand and I dropped it, I can have it fly up to me. You see? How does that work? Well, essentially because you already did it. So because you did a cause that led to the effect, you're able to have the effect happen, which will lead to the cause. So essentially, because I went into the room to shoot this video, I can theoretically walk out backwards because I've already done it. And they play with that idea beautifully. So, okay, we're back, we're coming back. I'm not talking about time inversion anymore. If you're still here, I hope you enjoyed that explanation. Anyway, so let's get into the bad about this film. The bad is really that I understand that too much exposition can ruin a film. Like, for instance, if you watch any Transformers movie, you'll have 20 minutes of, you know, John Turturro being like, the reason why the Autobots came here in the first place. And it's okay to have a little bit, but it's just to the point that, like, they're just reading off pages and pages of things to explain things they couldn't explain in the movie naturally. You know, so too much exposition is a bad thing, but too little also could be a bad thing. And specifically speaking, the issue with this film is it has too little exposition. It doesn't explain things enough. So while the movie Inception clearly explained a dream within a dream and implanting a dream within a dream and suggesting a dream and having it be original thought versus someone telling you something, you know, that was perfectly explained considering how complicated that was. They failed to do this on any level with Tenet. I mean, aside from the idea of time inversion, which I talked about briefly, you'll have a scene where they're doing a heist. And you're like, who are they heisting and why? Or you'll have a situation where someone's in a situation just talking to someone when they're in danger and they'll mention something. And then suddenly they're like, yeah, you know, let's go swimming tomorrow. It's like, what? Like, what did I miss? Nothing ever seems clear. And it's really irritating. It's like the concept is understood, but you don't know why a heist is happening or who's getting heisted and why it's happening. And it's really frustrating. It's hard to really understand. And this isn't a case of brilliant filmmaking. It's just a case of maybe making a mistake. I mean, I would compare this, like, I would say this is akin to trying to walk into a bedroom and having a flickery flashlight and trying to understand where you're going in the bedroom. Like, you know, you walked and you see the dresser, and then you see the other door and the window, but you don't know what's in between because you can't connect. You can't get the connective tissue, and that's something the film suffers from a lot. Where you understand there's a heist, but you don't understand how it's connected. Or like another example, the villain's motivations, it's never quite clear, and how the villain is attempting to do what he's attempting to do is never really fully understood. You understand that, yeah, he got a hold of something, but how did he get a hold of it? And you don't even understand what he fully got a hold of, you know? They don't take the time to explain things, and by the time you get to the end of the film, you don't really care, because the movie's about 2.5 hours long, and you're like, oh, that's what he needed? And I'm like, why didn't I understand that about, like, you know, an hour and 40 in? You see, I mean, it's like imagine, like, you know, Bane in The Dark Knight Rises 3, you understand that he wants to reset the clock, Bane. He wants to reset the clock, I'm pretty Gotham, right? That's what he wants to do, you understand that, okay? But it's like, imagine if Bane just starts doing all this weird stuff, not explaining why he's doing it, and you're like, why is he doing this? What's the point? You know what I mean? I mean, at least you can say, oh, it's anarchy. Oh, it makes sense, because that's all it was. This isn't that. It's like you don't have, it happens and you don't know why. And that's irritating. It's like it was a massive oversight. And then another thing, I know that I did comment how, you know, Robert Pattinson and John David Washington, you know, have some good moments, but those moments are far and few between. You never care about any of the characters. I never feel like any of these characters really matter. Like, to the point that, oh, one of them might die. It's like, why should I care? Like, there's no investment. I'm not invested. I mean, case in point, a brilliant movie, if you haven't seen it. Buried with Ryan Reynolds, okay? He's literally trapped in a box. He's somewhere in the Middle East, trapped in a box, and he's a contractor, okay? And he's on a cell phone, trying to be found, and trying to talk to his wife while he has a lighter to keep himself alive. One person in a box about to die with a cell phone as his only lifeline. I mean, you like his character in that movie, and it's done so well, you never feel like it's lacking. You feel like this guy's really in turmoil, you really want him to survive, he seems like a great guy, you want him to go to his family, you know? Check it out. Buried with Ryan Reynolds. Fantastic. Tell me he doesn't deserve an Oscar for that. So it's like, but you have this big bad movie with these characters and you don't care about any of them. None of them. Nothing blew me out of the water. Nothing mattered. I mean, it almost felt like mindless, nonsensical action for the sake of action. It's like there's nothing to invest me. It's like, may as well watch The Expendables and put Christopher Nolan on it, you know? I don't really understand what happened. I don't know how the ball got dropped that far. You know, considering that this is a man that, with brilliance, I mean, Inception is brilliant. The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, incredible. He made solid movies about solid criminals where one guy that happens to be the good guy happens to be Batman. It's just like, I mean, come on, man. Like, he's incredible, and yet somehow he failed in such a way that I find it baffling. So, that being said, clearly I have displeasure for this film, so let's give it a rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 4 out of 10. You know, the problems really is not enough understanding, not explaining to your audience enough why things are happening. Why is the villain doing what he's doing? Why are we going on a heist? What are we trying to steal? What's the purpose of someone doing this that leads to that? It almost feels like 1 minute we're grabbing a costume, next minute we're meeting with the President of the United States, next minute we're heisting, you know, the Nobel Peace Prize from Harriet Tubman. I'm like, why is this happening? And none of it makes any sense. And that's a problem. It's like your audience has to care, and the characters don't matter. You don't care. But there are some good moments, specifically the holding breath scene in like some kind of building. It's pretty wonderful. And the whole idea of time inversion. Otherwise, I would recommend this. Honestly, I mean, even the visuals. I mean, personally speaking, if you want to watch something interesting, then check it out if you're a visual person. I know people love watching films just for the sake of big visuals. You know, even they'll watch a Transformer movie because plot doesn't matter, characters don't matter. Just about, you know, getting that visual feast, which I completely understand. I understand that viewpoint. But if you're there for a story and something that's going to make your mind go, like your head's going to split in two, like you just discovered that, I don't know, you can dip an Oreo in milk, and if you hold it for 3 seconds, it'll fall apart. So you want to hold it sooner than that and then stick it in your mouth. Then, you know, I would skip the movie because it's not gonna knock your socks off or blow your mind like Inception did or any other great film has done. Guys, thank you for your support. Appreciate every single one of you. And as always, I will see you soon. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel.